We'd like to thank BetChrisCanada.net for their support of the Hockey Betting Podcast. I'm Brian Blessing in sunny Las Vegas.
And I'm Cam Stewart in cold Toronto, Canada.
If you love hockey and you're in Canada, and Cam is, by the All-Star break, even if you can't stop thinking about taking a vacation someplace sunny and warm, but you don't want to miss out on any of the hockey action, look for a BetChris near your next holiday destination.
BetChris is one of the leading sports books in the Western Hemisphere, with hundreds of sports betting locations throughout the Caribbean and Latin America.
Watch the game at a BetChris location. Food and drink specials and VIP lounges are available at many BetChris locations. Use the promo code PODCAST when you open your BetChris account.
Place some bets on your game and collect your cash at the window when the game is over.
BetChris offers single bets, parlay bets, teasers, and more on pregame and live odds for hockey and all your favorite Canadian and American sports leagues. And BetChris offers a variety of team and player props, including futures.
BetChris offers the best value odds on Canadian and international sports. Use the promo code PODCAST when you open up your account at a BetChris location. Deposit $750 or more and get up to a 40% reduced commission on your sports bets, up to minus 106 on single bets and parlay bets. That's the best juice in the biz.
So, if you're planning a trip to exotic locations from the Caribbean and Mexico to Peru and almost everywhere in between, the odds are very good. There's a BetChris Sportsbook where you're going on holiday. For more information about visiting a BetChris location while you're on holiday, or to listen to or subscribe to the Hockey Betting Podcast, visit BetChrisCanada.net. That's BetChrisCanada.net. Cam, you're Canadian. When you leave Canada and you're heading south, use the promo code PODCAST.
You're listening to the Hockey Betting Podcast, presented by BetChrisCanada.net. This is the Hockey Betting Preview for Thursday, December 12th, 2019. And now, live from Las Vegas, the host of the Hockey Betting Podcast, Brian Blessing.
Oh boy, here we go. It's like a kid on Christmas morning. Just happens to be midweek, and we're talking NHL. Brian Blessing, Cam Stewart. I'm in Vegas. He's in... do I say Mississauga, or do you want me to say Toronto?
I really don't care where
he's north of the border. He's in the center of the
north of the border. Yes.
Do you want to be one of these egomaniacs? You want me to say you're in the center of the hockey universe?
No, I'm not. It's a good part of the hockey universe, but yeah, I don't care if you tell me I'm in the burbs in Mississauga, Toronto, wherever the hell. Brian, you say what you want to say.
No, buddy, you're our go-to man. I want to give you the prowess you deserve.
Yeah, it's been a really good run. Last night, live bet the Bruins when the Capitals when they were down to the Bruins, and that turned out great. And I'll tell you, it's you find these numbers, Brian. It's absolutely fantastic.
You tell me, buddy. I'm looking at that. Yes, and this is what we do. But by the way, our last podcast, did we not? We sat here and talked it out. Said, okay, Calgary against Colorado.
Yeah.
Colorado's first game, but the grenade went off. We said Columbus at Washington.
Oh, yes. That night, and it's going to happen sometimes, not just Columbus and Washington, the Islanders. Let me tell you something, buddy. We made a killing that night, and the only reason I didn't do more was, should I just take Ottawa too to make it all 4 dogs of the night? And these aren't plus 110 dogs, plus 220. They're huge, like just huge underdogs. Win. We were sitting back. You said it. Columbus could be dangerous against Boston. They win the game. If you bet dogs, you're getting paid, and you tried to do that, Brian, with puck lines and everything else. I went 3 out of 4, still made money, but the Bruins were a big favorite.
Well, the Bruins' first game home from the long road trip.
Yeah.
It's printing money. And then, okay, those are the barking dogs. And then this is why I love the hockey so much, and we love being with you on the Hockey Betting Podcast, because you don't get to say this often. There are a couple NFL numbers this week. I'm going, those are bad numbers. Yeah, I mean, you don't get to say that often in the NFL. The NHL, I got news for you. There's bad numbers all over the place. How come Washington gets beat by Columbus in a game we said you can't bet Washington? If you want to step up and do it, knock yourself out. But You can't bet Washington in that situation, and Columbus beat them as a $2 dog. Okay, so if you're going to sit there and give the reason why Washington was a real banana peel, you had to draw a line through it because it was just that game, that situation. Now they're home. They got their sea legs back, their land legs, whatever you want to call it. All right, and then now you're just down to a hockey game where, yes, Boston is a spectacular hockey team, right? But you're telling me they made Washington 25 cents?
It went down to 15-20. I was all over it, buddy. I was all over it, Washington. I'll tell you something, too.
Cammy, though, current form. You scratch the Washington scenario we said was a banana peel. But then it's just a hockey game. Washington, is the best team in hockey record-wise, and Boston had lost 3 in a row coming in. How is that number not 40 cents, 45 cents?
I thought the number would be 40, 45, exactly what you say there. And no, it was great, too. And I was doing my in-game betting show, and the best thing about that game was Boston scored first. Wow, now I'm getting Washington at plus 140. Click, click. Yeah, there we go. You know what I'm saying, Brian? It's like it's a beautiful thing. A little bit of pregame betting, a little bit of in-game. If that team you like, you go down 1-0 in a hockey game. Who cares? There's so many comebacks. Hell, we've had 4-goal comebacks on multiple times this year. I'm not even talking about 2 and 3 goals. Look at the other night. Edmonton was down 3-0. Carolina, boom. I bet that this one didn't work out, Brian, but listen to this one. I had the Edmonton Oilers 12-1. They're down 3 goals. They tie it up 3-3, and then Carolina scored 3 more to lose 6-3. But this stuff is happening on a regular basis, buddy.
You want a gold mine. Listen, I mean, with the in-game thing that you did when you're down, great. It's 1 goal ain't the end of the world. Lots of time to come back. If you still believe you got the better team, of course you click back. But I'll give you one the other night. Chicago's at Vegas. Vegas is a $2 favorite. At the end of the first period, it's 0-0.
Exactly.
It was kind of a dead-even game. But halfway through the first period, the Blackhawks lost a defenseman. With a minute to go in the first period, Calvin DeHaan got hurt. Chicago was down to 4 defensemen, and Brett Seabrook's already drinking Metamucil on the bench, and you're telling me he's got to play 28 minutes? Right? I mean, and it's 0-0 after 1.
Yeah, and
there's no way they're watching all these games. You know what I mean? Chicago had no chance. I mean, no chance.
And the line dipped. On my book, it went
and the line would come down because of periods in the cookie jar.
Exactly.
And it was like, but just watching that, you knew and Vegas knew it. So what Vegas do? They started dumping the puck in. You know, instead of doing the tic-tac-toe crap.
Yep.
They dumped the puck in.
Smash.
They worked these guys for the first 8 minutes of the second period. The 4 defensemen that kept getting rolled out there, those guys couldn't stand. Vegas murdered them. Yeah, but it was all because of it was 5-0, and Blackhawks got a power play goal with 20 seconds to go. Yeah, but I mean, but in-game wagering, I mean, they're literally standing there handing you money.
No, it was crazy, Brian. That night, too, I remember. It was Vegas minus 1.5 to plus money. Click. Vegas minus 2.5 to plus money. Click. Minus 3.5. Do I do it? Click. Yes. Yeah. They're only like $25 plays, but hey, and then you add it all up in the middle. Like, hey, I made like $180 on this game. This feels great. That's the thing. So the combination of in-game, as Brian says, know the scenario, know what's going on, and you pray for those. Like even these 6.5s, Brian, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to give the listeners a tip too. Recently, no goals in the first period. The Leafs night against Vancouver, the Vegas night, the same thing. These are 6.5 totals. What happens? These lines dipped to 3.5 and 4. Leafs win 4-1. That game goes over. Vegas wins 5-1. That goes over. You're getting the better line because eventually they are going to score. I'm going to do a lot less at the start with these totals and play them accordingly. That's how you do it.
Buddy, I'm telling you what's about to happen here. And it's symptomatic of the world we live in. And if it's millennials, and I'm a creature of it and guilty of it, but not.
I'm a dinosaur too.
But every kid, every millennial, blah blah blah. I mean, these people have their face stuck in a phone all day long.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they're opening a sports book in Buffalo Friday. They're opening one in Michigan by Christmas. I mean, they're going to be, all these people are going to be going to hockey games, and everybody's going to be sitting there with their faces buried in the phones at hockey games, live clicking the hockey.
Yeah, exactly. I get to do it while I watch the game here, Brian, on my computer, which is a little bit bigger than a phone. But hey, that's the thing, man. You watch this stuff and stay on top of it. It's amazing. Like this live betting stuff. And I'll tell you, in hockey, it's nuts. The difference between 1-goal leads, you're looking at it going, are you kidding me? You're getting a good team sometimes at like plus 300 when it was like a pick 'em at the start of the game because what? They gave up the first goal? Like, come on, give me a break. That's the way to do it. Value, baby.
Listen, I'll tell you, it's a funny story real quick. It was the tank year for the Sabres when before they changed the lottery rules, that if they were the worst team in the league, they were guaranteed to be no worse than selecting second. So it was McDavid or Eichel. So, believe me, the Bradley tank was out. And I had a guy come up to me, hey, my buddy's got a big parlay going. He goes, he hit this, he hit that, and he's got it all wrapped around the Sabres plus 350 at Detroit. And Buffalo's winning 4-0. And I looked at the guy, I said, if they offered it, I would bet Detroit with 2 fists right now. He looked at me like I had 10 heads. Detroit came back and won 7-4.
7-4. I remember the game. I know.
Right?
That's it, man. Hey, if you get a cash out feature, ding, click it. Like, yeah, exactly, Brian. No, it's absolutely nuts. And live betting has changed the way, we're betting sports right now. And sometimes the numbers aren't sharp. So you got to be really like, it's a computer algorithm, right? So you just got to think, you know what you know. But I'll tell you, the one thing better than most is taking a home team, a favorite in hockey, down a goal early, and usually you get a better number, and most of the time they'll come back.
And again, with the live wager, just because of the sheer volume of everything that's out there. And you're right. Oh, hey, after 20 minutes, it's 1-0, and you're sitting there going, did you watch that period? The other team.
Exactly.
And and then they look. The other thing that you and I know, and hockey fans know. Hockey fans are, and this drives me absolutely insane. That the NHL now, and they're embracing the gambling and the puck tracker and the Corsi and the expected goals. Shut up. Take that crap and throw it in the ocean. But I'm telling you, you're going to give me all that nonsense. But after all these years, you're still going to jam down my throat shots on goal. Shots on goal is the most meaningless statistic in any sport. Yeah, a guy could flip a wrist shot from the blue line that the goalie could catch with his teeth, and it's a shot on goal. But they hit the post 5 times, and that's not a shot on goal. So if the NHL is actually going to embrace the betting aspect of things, and you're telling me and you're tracking all this garbage, Corsi and all these ridiculous things they throw out there, I'm like, oh, look at his numbers. His this and his that are great. I go, he turned it over 16 times. He sucked.
I'll tell you another thing. The fact that you hit the pipe is not a shot on goal is idiotic. But how many times do pucks hit post and go in? How is that not a shot? Like, honest to God, like, were they in a boardroom going, okay, well,
this is my
shot
point.
Hit the post, and it doesn't count as a shot. It's stupid.
But I'm saying they've manufactured all this
other crap. I get
garbage. When I'm saying to you, you can track all these things, but the most meaningful stat does not appear anywhere, and it's moderately subjective. But if you've got people that know what the hell they're doing, it's simple. You're tracking plus, minus, all this garbage you're tracking. I don't want you want to give me the shots on goal, that's fine. But a team could outshoot a team 24-10 in the first period.
Chances.
But the quality scoring chances were 7-2 the other way.
Exactly.
And that's the number. That's the thing that tells you how a game is being played. How is this not embraced? It is so simplistic. It's dumb.
No, you're absolutely great speech, Brian, and I agree with every minute of it. Shots on goal are meaningless. Usually, though, if you outshoot a team like 39-10, you've probably had a lot more opportunities. But you're right, quality chances, and that's the thing. Sometimes when you're busy and you're on these websites, they only have shots on goal. When you're watching the broadcast, you get the quality chances. You can market yourself. You can do a lot of that stuff, right? So that's another thing. If you're going to be paying real money, you got to be like. Pay attention. Watch the broadcast.
Did you watch the Sabres Blues at all the other night?
No, I didn't see that game.
Okay. I mean, big win. Buffalo beats the Cup champs. They get a goofy goal off the back dasher with 8 seconds left in the second. And St. Louis has got to be going to the locker room going, what the hell just happened? St. Louis, Olmark made 3 10-bell saves, and St. Louis hit the post or crossbar 4 times in that period. And then they're sitting there going, what the hell just happened? And then Eichel, gets a go-ahead goal, and Buffalo gets 2 empty netters. And you wake up the next morning, Buffalo killed St. Louis. St. Louis should have won by 4.
Yep, that's what happens, buddy. That's the thing. Quality scoring versus that. And that's the thing about hockey. You could break it down all you want. Usually we're on the right side, and sometimes just bad luck and good goaltending. Those things tend to happen, Brian. But you're absolutely right. The shots on goal, the fact that they haven't embraced scoring chances and made it the most important stat is just stupid, and it's very easy to do.
All right, let's rattle through it.
Yeah, let's get into the game. Let's go.
Yeah, you know what, though? I mean, it's funny because, like, that stuff, I mean, some of the things we try to do here, we wanted to get to the point. We want you to listen. I mean, you got to come and you got to listen to the Hockey Betting Podcast just on the premise that you never know when Cam may say something interesting. So just on that premise alone, we want to keep trying to attract people here. But we want to get it to the point where all the crap that we spew, that he knows what's going to come out of my mouth, and I know what he's going to say, that these are things that become second nature to you. That you listen to the stuff we're telling you. We're not Einstein. We can be wrong with the best of them. But the stuff we're throwing out here, we're talking dogs half the time. Over the long haul, you're going to be printing money.
And you brought up that night, and there's going to be more nights like that. The Columbus over Washington night, the Senators over Bruins night, every single underdog. Islanders beating the Lightning. We finish it off. Our favorite game was actually the closest game, Calgary over Colorado. You're absolutely right. And I tell people, too, watch out for betting hockey on Sundays. It's just one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really weird day. Dogs come out. Weird things happen. Little things that we'll tell you over the over time, and a lot of them happen a lot of the time. Hell, we're going to be wrong, but we're going to be, I can tell you one thing, since we've been doing this, there's been more winners than losers.
For outstanding information and special offerings and promotions, we invite you and encourage you to sign up for our newsletter today simply by going to the website, betchriscanada.net. All right, Pally, let's go. We got some interesting games. Islanders in Florida. Florida's $1.25. Total is 6 shaded to the under. This Islanders team, they're just the real McCoy, and the Panthers are a good team too. I'm not getting involved here. I'm going to sit on the sideline. And the total of 6 is certainly tells you something about the way the Islanders play, because Florida can go up and down the ice. Although the other night they were in a sleepwalker against the Lightning.
I'll tell you something. This is, I think, a good spot for Florida. They got outplayed in that game. The Islanders are a hard team to play against, but I got to believe Coach Q is going to have these guys ready to rock. Very disappointed in a rivalry game against Tampa Bay. They looked flat, but you know what happens in hockey. Teams come back, and Florida was playing good to that game. Maybe they started to read their own clippings, Brian, thinking, hey, we're back. We're the Florida Panthers. We're winning games. Killed S.J. Sharkey there, but you know what? This is a spot for them. It's only 25 cents. I like the Panthers over the Islanders. As for the total, I'd probably even go under. The Islanders like to play a defensive style on the road. I could see Florida winning a 3-4-1 type of game tonight. I like the Panthers. I lean under.
I just throw this out. And it's not like we're, this is Haley Comet stuff. But when the Islanders lose a game, play them the next game. They only have a couple of back-to-back losses, and I think that's a function of Trotz that, losing streaks. I mean, so that day the Islanders come and lose, you better be playing them in a bounce back mode because that'll work for you all year long.
Oh yeah, no, well coached, underrated players, two-way players. They do their job. I like the goaltending too. I think Grice is okay. Varlamov, the Islanders put a good team together too. It's funny they lose Tavares, but they got more galvanized as a team. They're a very, very tough out. I just think they run into a Panthers team that's a little bit angry after a bad performance against Tampa Bay. They looked awful.
All right, good stuff there. Good game and a monster game.
What do we do with your Sabres versus the Predators?
I will tell you this.
Buffalo's hot.
Just watch when Carter Hutton's playing. It's Ullmark tonight. Ullmark was 1-1A. I said it all last year. Run with this kid, will you please? Because Hutton actually thrived as a backup. He cannot lug the mail on a regular basis. Right now, Hutton can't stop a beach ball. So when Hutton's playing, play Sabres games over because the Sabres are actually the game tonight. I think St. Louis exacted a physical toll on Buffalo. I'm worried about this game, but
I think Nashville might be the play. But
yeah, I'm hopeful for Buffalo. But what I would tell you, and not this game, but I'd watch for subsequent games. The Sabres are now an over team, which is shocking. Ullmark is making 10-bell save after 10-bell save. But, I mean, the other teams are getting a boatload of quality scoring chances. But Eichel's on the heater. He's been the best player in the league. He has been. He has a 14-game point streak. If he gets a point, he ties Patrick Kane for the longest point streak this year. This kid is putting himself in the hard discussion camp. This is no joke. And I put a little sprinkle. You want to giggle? Just that I'm getting a run for my money? Before the year, 200-1. I put a little flyer on Eichel to win the goal-scoring title.
Ooh, you got to deal with David Pasternak, friend.
And Pasternak got one last night. He's at 26, but Eichel's up to 20. But Eichel now, after the first 10, 12 games, it's no more I'm trying to fit in and make other guys better.
No,
Eichel is shooting.
Yes, he is.
And he is on, as you would say, a Tootsie Roll.
Oh, he's Tootsie rolling, and he's on a heater, Tootsie Roll, and Fuego, fire, whatever you want to call it. When you look at Eichel, the guy's the best player on the ice practically every night. Also, Brian, I got to give this kid a lot of respect. He seems tougher. He had a bad injury. I know he had an arm problem when he was playing against the Leafs. He's fighting through it. He's a real good guy.
You know what he is now, Cam? He's 23, I think. He's a man.
Yeah,
he was a teenager. I mean, you used to see him now. He's bulked up. He's actually finishing checks. He's winning every battle along the wall. And but why? Beyond him, they're actually getting secondary scoring. And Dahlin is about to come back. Their power. The sneaky thing. And this is another. If you want to do a kind of an analytic thing, the one thing I would just say to you, their power play has been an atrocity. And they're winning games. 5-on-5. Every goal Skinner scored this year, I think he's 11 or 12, is 5-on-5. He leads the league in 5-on-5
which
goals.
Is crazy.
Buffalo is 5-on-5. They've been winning games doing it 5-on-5 with no special teams. That's impressive.
Yeah, no, I've been very impressed with the Buffalo team. Remember the night, Brian? It was absolutely fantastic. I watched a documentary on the Sabres history with they came in with Vancouver and they did a big thing at this guy in Buffalo's memorabilia shop and stuff. Damn, I wish I taped it. I didn't have the right tape box downstairs. It's upstairs in my room, but it was fantastic.
You know what? I got one of those tickets.
Great documentary.
I've got the ticket. It was the first hockey game I ever saw. It was the St. Louis Blues against the Sabres at the Old Odd with the French Connection. And the Blues had Gary Unger and Red Berenson, and it was like the first game I ever saw, and it was over. My favorite sport. And I got the ticket stub, $4.
Yeah, that's great. No, they showed the guy with the ticket stub, and they showed the wheel, how they got Gilbert Perreault. They thought it was one, but it was 11.
Clarence Campbell misread it.
These guys, the Sabres, you get one, and they're like, "Oh God, what's happening?" No, there's another one on the wheel.
Right. They're picking these guys up. They were picking them off the floor, like the Buffalo table had an embolism. And
that documentary was awesome. Like, I watched it during the intermission. Man, it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, I like the old days. By the way, that Buffalo game tonight, just so you know, is 80s night, because it's them in Vancouver, their 50th year. And so they're doing all these things at Vancouver and in Buffalo. And tonight is 80s night, and they've actually jazzed up the KeyBank Center to make it like the old Odd.
Nice.
So they have all these kind of little special things going on, which is pretty cool. All right, hey, Edmonton, Minnesota. We're looking at.
Oh, we forgot one game, Brian. Boston,
Tampa, monster game. Tampa's $1.45, 6 to the over. You know what? I like Boston in a bounce back spot here. I think Tampa's flawed.
I think Tampa is flawed too. They've been playing better when I watch them play, but Boston, after another loss to Washington, they're going to be angry tonight. Plus 120. I agree with you. I think Boston's a play.
I mean, if you're going to sit there and say, this is what makes no sense. Well, okay. Why the number is what the number is tonight is because it's back-to-back nights. But this was the number that Washington should have been against Boston last night.
And I like coming back to a team after losing the first on the back-to-back. Like, it's one of those things, like a doubleheader in baseball. Boston lost a heartbreaker to Washington. They tied it up, then they lost. Give me Boston.
But, buddy, here's the thing. I mean, with a team like Boston, back-to-back night, okay, you're making the number. Okay, so on that premise alone, just generically, they're making that number what they're making the number. But wait a second. Some teams back-to-back nights are different animals. You're talking Rask or Halak. I mean, if you got to play a backup goalie who's a sieve, I get the back-to-back nights, but you're talking a guy that's a starter for 60% of the league.
Exactly. That's the thing. I think Boston is in a real good spot. It's going to make my card tonight. This team will not go on a long extended streak. They've been playing bad hockey. It ends tonight. Cassidy will have these guys ready to rock. It's also against a team that, Tampa Bay feel good about themselves. A lot of talented players, but floaters. I think Boston's going to impose their will and physicality and hurt the Lightning tonight. I could see a Bruins win. I'm with you, buddy.
All right, Edmonton, Minnesota.
What do we do with Edmonton? That's another thing. This team, I want to strangle them like Homer's grabbing Bart's neck. Edmonton, you're down 3-0, you stooges, and then you come back and tie it. Then you lose 6-3. I couldn't believe the McDavid penalty shot. I almost lost my mind. The guy trips on the puck. Something like I wouldn't even do. Like, it was just a weird night. But I'll tell you something. Edmonton, they should beat Minnesota, but Minnesota's been sneaky, right? I don't know, Brian. I want to take.
I know what I like. I know what I like. I like.
You like the over?
Minnesota's an over team. It's crazy, and in your wildest dreams, you would never think of them as being an over team. But they're scoring goals, man, and in their own end. I mean, if you go to Cap Friendly, if I'll tell you what, Cam, if you ever, if the day ever come where you ate some bad food and you had to get it out, right? Well, instead of drinking Epicac, pretend you're a Minnesota Wild fan and go to Cap Friendly. You'll puke. All right.
Yeah, they got a lot of old dudes.
Oh my God. Okay.
Contract.
Oh my God. So anyway, they're an over team, and McDavid and Draisaitl and what do you call it? Not Tocchet. Tippett has got them playing really good. I like the over in the game, but I will tell you, this Edmonton thing and everybody is kind of coming back to the pack, and we're knowing who teams are. This can't continue with two guys playing 26 minutes a night up front. No. Edmonton is going to hit a wall.
They are. I think they're starting to hit a wall. And if these guys don't bring their A game every night, they get slaughtered. So they're a hard team to bet on. Will they play well in Minnesota tonight? Probably. But, I just don't trust them. They're too inconsistent. I'm going to have to pass, but I will take your advice on the over. I think Minnesota could score goals on Edmonton too. It says like a 4-3 game kind of written all over it, Brian.
All right, Cammy, we got to do it, buddy. Vegas and St. Louis. Pally, this number is stupid. St. Louis should be 40 cents.
Yeah, no. And Vegas, just because you beat Chicago, no, St. Louis is going to be angry too. losing to Buffalo. Yeah, I agree. Like, hey, Vegas gets a lot of respect from the betting market, but I got to take the Blues. 15
the bad
cents.
number.
Yeah, I would have made this number Blues 35. So 15 looks good to me.
Pal,
real good.
We just, at the beginning, we talked about it. Vegas beat Chicago. Chicago lost 2 defensemen. Vegas took advantage of it and killed them. It was Fleury's first game back off a 2-week absence. It was an emotional night for him. He fought the puck in the first period, but he stopped everything. But his rebound control was bad, and then he played really, really well. Okay, Fleury's back, and yeah, he's playing good. But oh, by the way, St. Louis lost at Buffalo. We told you they hit 4 or 5 posts, but you had Allen was the goalie. So now it's Binnington tonight, and these guys, I don't understand this number. I really don't. I think St. Louis is absolutely the side.
Oh, I'm on St. Louis tonight. I think it's great. We're getting 15 cents because the market loves Vegas. The total looks low, but I'm not going to touch it. We could have a defensive type of game here. So, yeah, give me St. Louis as my side there, Brian. I think they're going to get it done. Hell, I'm looking at this card. I'm starting to like a lot of stuff as I look down. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got like 6 or 7 games so far right now. I might go bananas.
Well, you don't have far to go.
What else we got? Chicago and Arizona. Hey.
I would sit here and say to you that Chicago is kind of a in and outer. That
I like Arizona tonight.
I could see them, bouncing back, but we just told you their blue line is banged up. The one thing, buyer beware, buddy. I don't want to talk you off something, and I do like this Arizona team. Know this. I have never seen anything like it. You watch this bizarre. This is what you get on the Hockey Betting Podcast, folks. Last week said, watch out, Pittsburgh's going to Arizona to play the Cardinals in the NFL. And Pittsburgh had everything to play for, and Arizona had been embarrassed. So Arizona was going to come back with a good effort that had trapdoor written all over it. And at the end of that game, Arizona gets the ball with a chance to win the game.
Of course they do.
And they showed an overview, and the entire lower bowl was Steelers fans.
Oh,
and
I know.
Kyler Murray in his own building trying to drive down to win the game couldn't hear the snap count.
I know.
It was a home game.
I was on Arizona.
It was a home game for Pittsburgh, and I'm telling you, Chicago, it was the least amount of Blackhawk fans. They were here on November 3rd, I believe, and there were a lot of Blackhawks fans. There weren't that many in Vegas for this game, but I'm telling you, in Arizona, I think part of it is it's hard. They couldn't get tickets. In Arizona, this is going to be a home game. That's the only thing I'm saying to you, Pally. This is going to be a home game for Chicago, fan-wise.
Nope. It's a good angle, but I will say this. Arizona also, I thought, played Calgary really well in the first period, peppered them. The goaltender, Cam Talbot, actually played one of the best games he played all year. They got frustrated. What happened? Calgary scored a couple quick goals, really hurt them. I think Arizona, they're going to have to show up mentally tonight. They're a better team than Chicago. You said if Chicago has problems on the back end, that's good for me. I get it. There's going to be Blackhawk fans there, but Arizona is a better team than Chicago. It's only 50 cents. Might put it in some parlays, but I like the Coyotes to rebound there. It's not my favorite game, but I'll take Arizona.
Is the low-hanging fruit game on the card?
The Leafs?
Watch it be 1-0. But I mean, how does this game not go over? I'm even seeing a 6 some places, but it's 6.5. I mean, Calgary's on an overheater since they changed coaches. Toronto can score, and their own end is a travesty. I mean, Rittich is playing good. Anderson's playing good. Let's double-check the matchup and see what we're getting here. What is Toronto going to do at some point with their backup goalie situation? Because
I don't know. They better get one.
But, I mean, 2 good goalies, but I just think the way the game's played, it's going over 6.5.
I got 6, so, yeah, I'm going to play. I believe Toronto's the play, too. I know it's hard to go into Vancouver, win that game. Calgary feeling good. Remember, Brian, they're coming back from that trip, too, right? Beating Arizona, doing their thing. Leafs waiting there, 20 cents. Give me Toronto. It's not a homer pick. The Leafs are going to bring Calgary back down to earth tonight. They're a better team. I'll lay 20 cents with the over.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a good spot for Toronto.
Okay, let's go get out game before we go to the weekend. I mean, there's several others, but instead of doing them all, you got the coaching change, right? San Jose, $1.55. Rangers coming to town, total 6.5. DeBoer, by the way, I mean, you're in Canada. Have you watched any of this impeachment stuff down here?
Yeah, I watch it. Yes.
You know who Adam Schiff is?
Yes, I do.
Peter DeBoer's twin brother.
Yeah, he looks like Peter DeBoer.
I'm like, yeah, so DeBoer's going right to Washington.
I know.
I've been saying
you've been fired by the Sharks and hired by the Republican Party.
I've been saying this for a year. Like, if you put a goatee on Adam Schiff, it's Peter DeBoer.
That's hilarious.
All right.
I don't even know what this guy got fired for. Like, all this other stuff's about, racism and this and that. DeBoer just wasn't getting this team to play. I'll tell you one thing. I don't know if I want to.
DeBoer's not a goalie. Their goalies are garbage, but they've underachieved. Come on, man. You're rolling out Burns and Carlson every night. I'm sorry. You should be winning every other game at worst.
Yeah.
I like San Jose tonight. I think it's puck line. Yeah. It's the coaching change. We just saw it with Calgary.
Yeah, Calgary with their new coach. Yeah, they've been doing great.
We just saw it with Rick Bowness. I'll tell you, you get a coach, it's like a player getting traded. He goes nuts for 3 days. I mean, the players respond. DeBoer's out of there. Don't you think it's Sasquatch foot tonight?
I'll tell you something, buddy. I worry about the Rangers because they're one of those teams. They beat Vegas, then they lose to L.A., and I was on L.A. that night. They're very wishy-washy because they're a young team, but yeah, I lean with the Sharks. I'm very wary of the Rangers as an underdog sometimes. They're a very odd team, but San Jose should get it done.
We talk about the hockey betting podcast, right? And some of the stuff with and we're sitting there going, the Rangers, they're hot and cold, up and down, in and out. I told you, the reverse puck line, plus 450, played the Rangers against Vegas just because of the scheduling situation.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the two teams, who's the better team. It was the situation. All right, now they go and play a hockey game against the Kings and they lose 3-1. You know what I mean? So, the Rangers are what the Rangers are. So, again, I think this is nothing more than a situation. Coaching change. Sharks are up 4-0 after 1.
I hope so, buddy, because I'm going to be betting. I'm looking at my NHL card tonight, Brian.
You got to go puck line there if you're doing it.
It might be a Merry Christmas. It could be a debacle. I got to play in. I need to win. I don't know. It's gonna be a stocking full of oranges and coal, or I'm gonna have like the commercial. Hey, honey, I got you a new truck.
That's kind of
and a Peloton.
Oh, jeez, don't go there. That's a joke. That commercial came on the other night. I told my wife, I said, Cammie and I were talking about the Peloton commercial on the hockey podcast the other day. She just started cracking up. She's looking at it going, what's the problem? I
don't see a problem.
I have no idea. The guy seemed to, buy her a really nice, expensive.
Yeah. Hey, honey, you like to work out? Here's a Peloton.
And by the way, I mean, like this poor actor will never get another job as long as he's alive. And all he did was sit there and smile. He didn't say.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
But I was going to say the alliteration was great. The hockey debacle.
I don't know, Brian. I got a lot of things on the card. So this card Friday is kind of your Vegas is playing Dallas, New Jersey, and Colorado. That's kind of dog's breakfast. Only 2 games there. Give me something for that game.
Makar is close to coming back. Okay.
Well, they beat Philadelphia without him. They'll beat the Devils -1.5.
But they're going to be 230. That's puck line or nothing.
I agree. Or parlayed. Yep.
And Vegas, Dallas, kind of a coin flip. I wouldn't. It would be.
I kind of like Dallas there. It depends what Vegas does, though.
I know. I can't. I want to know what goes on tonight.
If Vegas beats St. Louis, I will go to Dallas. If Vegas loses to St. Louis, I might consider Vegas. It's one of those. One of those.
All right. Here, I'll give you. Let's see. They got a day off, so I'm assuming that we're getting Bishop tomorrow. That would be my very best case. Okay, I'll tell you what. Now let's cut to the chase here. Bonus is the coach. It's the first time he had a run the practice with these guys. Okay, so you got the new coach there, but the bottom line is you got Bishop. But Subban, the odds are 90%. that Subban plays. So they will shade the total higher because Subban's the goalie. Let me just say this. Subban, this guy's got the worst job in hockey. He's behind this beloved guy that they have run into the ground for 2 years. And Subban would play every 8 games. Now, Fleury's been gone. Subban played really, really well. They got mauled in the Rangers game. That was not his fault. The team was a no-show. Subban, because he's actually played a lot of games. I mean, how hard is it to get a rhythm when you play once every 8 games? This guy just got done playing 5 games in the last 7 games. I'll go under the total tomorrow. That would be I'll say under. I'll say Subban plays well and like that, and hope they put a 6 up and go under 6.
Okay. No, I can agree with that. What do we want to do? Pick a couple for Saturday? What do you think there, Bri?
Saturday, we love the menu, but we get the afternoon, the matinees.
Columbus, Ottawa, tough. Buffalo Islanders, kind of like
Islanders.
Islanders.
How do you? I would think you want the sneaky overplay. That might be the game that Hutton shows up.
Yeah, I agree.
And because it's the Islanders, I bet you they put a 5.5 up if Hutton's playing. And the Islanders are so good clogging up the middle. But the thing that Sabres have that's good against that is Eichel, and sneakily one of the very best players in the league in terms of zone entry is Marcus Johansson. So Buffalo can, I think, do a good job of getting zone entry that the Islanders really take a lot away from. I like the over in that game.
Also, Boston and Florida's on the card. Remember the last time they played, Boston blew a 4-goal lead. I would look for Boston as a dog in Florida. Get their act back on track, right, Brian? They'll probably be a pick 'em or like plus 105, 110 in that game.
Yeah. How about Philly Philly bouncing back from a loss to Colorado against Minnesota? I think that's a higher scoring game, but I pending what Minnesota does tonight will slightly impact that number. But I
like Philly
Flyers in the over.
Yeah, I like Philly too. Carter Hart played well in that game. He got no offense against Colorado. So, yeah, I'm with Philadelphia to get a win in Minnesota. Minnesota's got to come down to earth eventually. Leafs and Edmonton should be a tough game. Edmonton usually brings their A game against Toronto, maybe over. I could probably see some goals in that game with McDavid, Draisaitl, and the Leafs. That'll be a shinny game. The rest are tough.
Is that the end of the long road trip for the Leafs?
Yeah. Edmonton might be the play in that game.
Well, no, but I was going to say, they may already be on the plane, right? Mentally.
Yeah, exactly.
But is that not the game that you may see the backup?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a scary thought to put a backup out there against McDavid and company.
Oh, I know.
But you can't kill Anderson. At some point, you got to play the backup.
Edmonton in the over. If the backup's there, it's pretty simple. You can't save anything. The guy's brutal.
What are we dealing with there? Did they change it? No, stupid website won't load. Is it still McElhinney? Did they get rid of him?
No, Hutchison.
No, Hutchison, not McElhinney. McElhinney was no, I meant it's still they're still riding this kid.
Yeah, and then there's this other guy. There's a couple guys down in the American Hockey League.
Why would they bring Calvin? They still got Calvin Pickard with the Marlies.
He's gone.
That's one of the funniest stories. The Vegas drafted him, and I keep saying it, and I know they probably want my head on a plate, and I do the daily hockey show in Vegas. They did this bus trip, when Bill Foley wanted to make it the team of the Rockies. I'm like, well, you get it in Vegas first, but they wanted to, well, what do you think the Avalanche have to say about making Vegas the team of the Rockies? What am I missing? But they did this bus trip in the beginning when they first got the team, and they went up to Montana, Colorado, Idaho. They went, and it's okay. It was kind of make it a regional thing, and there were two or three guys that went on the bus trip. One of the guys was Calvin Pickard.
Yeah.
Right. So they go on this whole, 4-day bus trip through Montana and Idaho, and they come back from the bus trip and they traded him. Right. So they do it every year now. they still do this thing. And I, so of course, when they're getting ready to leave on the bus trip, I go, who's going to be sitting in the they got the cutout, a life-size cutout of Calvin Pickard on the bus, or who's sitting in the Calvin Pickard memorial seat?
I like. Hey, I can tell you. I can tell you one thing,
pal.
I'll tell you one thing. I'd rather have Calvin Pickard than Hutchison right now.
I know.
Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The Leafs have the worst backup goalie in the league, and it needs to be addressed big time because they're playing better, right? So I don't get it. I know Kincaid. They let him go on waivers. He's got problems, but they gotta figure out something. Because the problem was when Babcock was there, Brian. They brought up that kid, and he got peppered in Pittsburgh that night. He landed 6 goals and lost his confidence. Babcock was a bad coach.
All right, Hutchinson. Well, here it's this simple. Hutchinson, 7 games played, 0-5-1, goals against 4.55.
Yeah.
Save percentage is 8. Actually, for that goals against, the save percentage it ain't great, but it's not as hideous as you think. It was 8.76. So not only. Well, I mean, I was going to say they play like crap in front of him. The bottom line is they play like crap in front of Anderson, and he saves their bacon.
Exactly. You said it, buddy. And Anderson, they hang him out to dry. The difference is he's a wicked goaltender, and Hutchison not so much. So, yes, if he's playing against Edmonton, Oilers in the over all day.
All right. Well, we got Christmas carols out of the deal and hopefully a few winners.
I hope so, buddy. I don't want to be broke. Tough time of year. You got to make smart bets, right? You know what I'm talking about?
That's why this sport is the best. Honest to God, man. It's the absolute best sport to bet. We've said this forever, and on an annual basis, history repeats itself so much. You know, the other thing, Cammy, we'll be talking about this. We're past Thanksgiving. The Christmas trade freeze is going to be what are we, 10 days away or whatever? And then the deal's got to start happening.
For sure.
And then the other thing that happens, buddy, you know it and I know it, the games will be different. Because right now it's pond hockey.
Yeah.
When you get to January, all of a sudden the unders start to kick in. And then you get to the trade deadline, and then teams start protecting points.
Exactly.
You get a 2-2 game after 2. That game's going. That game's 3-2 in overtime or a shootout because both teams are just off the glass and out.
You're so right. Right now, things. These guys are playing shinny. Things are going to change real fast, Brian. That's an excellent point to tell everybody. Yeah, those games, when you're tied late in a game, don't think about getting an extra goal because you're not. You're either going to win in overtime or a shootout. I agree 100%.
He's the man. We love him. Cam Stewart. I'm Brian Blessing. We thank you for joining us on the Hockey Betting Podcast.
You've been listening to the Hockey Betting Podcast, presented by BetChrisCanada.net.
For outstanding information and special offerings and promotions, we invite you and encourage you to sign up for our newsletter today simply by going to the website, BetChrisCanada.net.
The handicapping and sports odds information contained on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm the wagering regulations in your jurisdiction as they vary from state to state, province to province, and country to country. Using this information to contravene any law or statute is prohibited. The podcast is not associated with, nor is it endorsed by any professional or collegiate league, association, or team. This podcast does not target and is not intended for an audience under the age of 18. If you think that you have a gambling addiction, stop this podcast now and please seek help.
Gambling and betting on sports is a form of entertainment and should be about having a good time. But when done excessively, it may negatively affect other areas of a person's life, such as their physical and mental health, school or work performance, finances, and or interpersonal relationships. At BetChrisCanada.net and the Hockey Betting Podcast, we're concerned about the addiction that gambling may cause, and for this reason, we encourage everyone to practice responsible gambling, an approach to gambling that helps you ensure that it remains an enjoyable activity. Here are the main principles of responsible gambling. Don't think of gambling as a way to make money. Always gamble with money that you can afford to lose. Set limits and stick to them. Never chase losses. Don't gamble when you're depressed or upset, and create a healthy balance. Always be aware of how much time you spend gambling or thinking about gambling. And do not allow gambling to cause you to miss out on time with family and friends or time spent on other activities you enjoy. By following these guidelines, gambling can be a good time and great entertainment. If you feel at any time that your gambling is taking away from important areas of your life, is causing you stress or depression, or is leading to financial losses that are beyond your control, please reach out for help. Learn more at responsiblegambling.org.